We are in chapter 8, verse 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
tyajat yante kalevaram
Jajatyante kalevaram
tam tamevaiti kaunteya
Tam tamevaiti kaunteya
sadha tadbhava bhavitaha.
Sada tadbhava bhavitaha
We'll repeat. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam
tyajat yante kalevaram
Jajatyante kalevaram
tam tamevaiti kaunteya
Tam tamevaiti kaunteya
sadha tadbhava bhavitaha.
Sada tadbhava bhavitaha
Hare Krishna, I'm Sunita Sunil with you in 2-minute Mahabharata stories. In our last episodes, we have been seeing about the thoughts that we should have at the time of death. What is that? How should we practice this type of thoughts to react in illness bed? Today, let us continue with whatever one remembers at the time of death. That state one attains because one becomes what one thinks. Let us see the importance of final thoughts, that is, one's last thoughts, influence their afterlife destination. Usually, mental state at death is one's thoughts and emotions at the end determine their next state. How this cause occurs by our thoughts shape our next reality. For example, all of us know how to build external materialistic facts, but internal only few try it out. For example, only if you taste the idli you could tell about it, the likes and experience. Then look into the depth of its ingredients, how healthy it is for all ages, as it is easy to digest even for a sick person. This was easy to understand for all the listeners because we know about idli. In the same way, if we start to think about inner engineering, to know about the self, then we would cultivate awareness and focus on the divine or one's spiritual goals. Then thoughts would shape reality as our thoughts have consequences and our final thoughts are crucial. What is preparation to be done? It is preparing oneself for a peaceful and focused death through spiritual practices. Let us see a small story about this. There was a wealthy merchant who was nearing death, was worried about his business. His family surrounded him, trying to calm him down. One of the family member whispered, "Think of Krishna." But the merchant's mind was preoccupied with his wealth. His last words were, "My ledger, my accounts," and he passed away. The moral is, in this story, We saw the thoughts of material possessions which would shape his next life. For example, the power of focus is the person's last thoughts, which can determine their next state, emphasizing the importance of mindfulness. This shows material attachment as the merchant's attachment to wealth might lead to a similar existence in his next life. So, here the spiritual practice and detachment from worldly possessions are lacking. In real life, how it would look for terminally ill patients if their thoughts and emotions in their final moments can be influenced by their life experiences and spiritual practices. About grief and loss, the people often reflect on their memories and thoughts of the deceased, highlighting the importance of cultivating possessive thoughts and emotions. For this, many people engage in meditation, yoga, or prayers to cultivate awareness and focus. Yes, it is understood. We are in Kali Yuga, so all our mind is focused on packages and style of living. Still, few minutes is not spent by cleaning puja room or lighting the lamp or offering prasadam. Then the questions arise. Don't know prayers or no time for prayers. But when missed someone, then they would blame the God, even though nothing is done for him. There are other few people who tell, I always pray to God, I meditate, but no prosperity or not having good health. This is prarabdha karma, as of happenings of previous birth. With prayers and spirituality, slowly bad is getting melted. It is purifying. When we pray with true heart, we don't think about body or self. Whatever our thoughts and surroundings is created is only by good and bad karmas. Everything is Maya, that is illusion. It is like a mirage. So question about good to understand and follow it. Forget the bad, as it is waste of time. Let us see in a simple way about this verse. A person's state of being at the time of death determines their next existence. Whatever a person remembers or contemplates while quitting their body will be the state they attain, as they are constantly absorbed in that thought. This highlights the importance of a lifetime of spiritual practice to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. The moral is this verse is a universal law that the dominant thought at the moment of death shapes the soul's next life. This is why a lifetime of practice is crucial to ensure a favorable final thought rather than trying to force it at the last moment. However, one should not conclude that God realization can be attained merely by meditating upon God at the time of death. When we plan for our travel, It requires careful planning and execution beforehand. We cannot make our plans. Let us see a small story of a parrot. With lot of effort, one may teach their pet parrot to say Ram Ram. However, if someone attacks the parrot, it forgets all that it has learnt and screeches in its natural sound of tat. Likewise, the channels of thoughts that we create through lifelong habit, at the time of death, the same thoughts will naturally flow into our mind. What we constantly contemplate and meditate upon throughout our life are influenced by our daily habits and associations. We know the story of King Bharata. He renounced his kingdom to pursue God realization and was living an ascetic's life in the forest. But for this Kali Yuga, nobody does such practices. But we have seen 500 years ago Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling us to chant this simple Maha Mantra, that is, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the simple way to get rid of sufferings and which shows the guide for living, and same thought would arise at the time of death as practiced. Let us continue to hear from Sri Krishna in our next episodes. Don't miss to watch the previous episode by giving a like so that you will know that you have watched that episode. Also see daily future episodes to know our own life. Good day to all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ. ಶ್ರೀಮದ್ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ 8 ಶ್ಲೋಕ 6. ಯಂ ಯಂ ವಾಪಿ ಸ್ಮರನ್ ಭಾವಂ ತ್ಯಜತ್ಯಂತೆ ಕಳೇಬರಂ ತಂತಮೇವೈತಿ ಕೌಂತೆಯ ಸದಾ ತದ್ಭಾವಭಾವಿತ. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಭಾವಾರ್ಥ: ಕೌಂತೆಯ, ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಯಾವ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ನೆನೆಯುತ್ತಾ ದೇಹವನ್ನು ತೊರೆಯುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಅನುಗಾಲ ಬೇರೂರಿದ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರದಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಪಡೆಯುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಜೀವನಯಾತ್ರೆಯ ಅಂತಿಮ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನು ನೆನೆದವರು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಸೇರುತ್ತಾರೆ ಎಂದು ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಏಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ ಎನ್ನುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರವಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮರಣಕಾಲದ ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತ ಮನಃಶಾಸ್ತ್ರವನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ತೆರೆದಿಡುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಸಾಯುವ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತನ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಲು ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶವಿದೆ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತಾನೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ. ನಾವು ದೇಹ ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಏನನ್ನು ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೋ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಪಡೆಯುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನು ಸ್ಮರಿಸಿದರೆ ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನು ಸೇರುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಸಾವಿನ ಕೊನೆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದ ನಿರ್ಣಾಯಕ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕೋ ಅದೇ ನೆನಪಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನು ಸೇರುವ ಯೋಗ ಇಲ್ಲದವರಿಗೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ನೆನಪು ಬರುವುದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ದೃಷ್ಟಾಂತಗಳಿವೆ. ಈ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾರತ ಎಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಬರಲು ಕಾರಣನಾದ ಋಷಭದೇವನ ಮಗ ಭರತನ ಕತೆ ಈ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಪುರಾವೆ ಸಹಿತ ಹೇಳುವ ಕತೆ. ಪರಮ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕನಾದ ಭರತ ತನ್ನ ಮಗ ಪ್ರಾಯಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧನಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ತನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ಅವನಿಗೊಪ್ಪಿಸಿ ವಾನಪ್ರಸ್ಥಾಶ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಿ ಕಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಋಷಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸದಾ ಭಗವದ್ನಿಷ್ಠನಾಗಿ ಬದುಕುತ್ತಿದ್ದ. ಒಂದು ದಿನ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಕಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತಾಯಿ ಸತ್ತ ಒಂದು ಜಿಂಕೆ ಮರಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತು. ಭರತ ಆ ಮರಿಯನ್ನು ತಂದು ಪಾಲನೆ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡತೊಡಗಿದ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಆತ ಸದಾ ಆ ಜಿಂಕೆಯನ್ನೇ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡುವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನ ಸಮಯವನ್ನು ಕಳೆಯಲಾರಂಭಿಸಿದ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಆತನ ಸಾಧನೆಗೆ ಚ್ಯುತಿ ಬಂತು. ಆ ಜಿಂಕೆಯ ಮರಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗುವ ಮೊದಲೇ ಆತ ಪ್ರಾಣತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡುವ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ ಬಂತು. ಆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭರತನಿಗೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಚಿಂತನೆಯ ಬದಲು ಕಾಡಿದ್ದು ಆ ಜಿಂಕೆ ಮರಿಯ ಚಿಂತೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಆತ ತನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಿಂಕೆಯಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಎಂತಹ ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಾರಬ್ಧ ಬಿಡದು ಎನ್ನುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ.